Hell yeah, brother. Oh, this is nice. I want to thank you for doing this,
thank
man.
you.
This is awesome to sit down. Welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today is my brother, Ryan, better known as DJ Hulio. Julio, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. Welcome to my house.
Yeah, this is great. We don't get to do a lot of on-site, shoots like this. So when we got the opportunity, I'm glad that you jumped at it and let us come in here. If you hear some meows in the background, we got some attention-seeking cats. It's all good. I got one at home, too. She makes appearances on the show already. So
nice.
This is as comfortable as I get doing these interviews, man.
And it needs to be that way sometimes.
No, and I think it should be.
Yeah.
You know, what I tell a lot of people when they come on the show is like, just nobody's listening, right? Nobody's not don't worry about all the cameras or the microphones or what's going on around you. It's about the conversation, man.
100%.
And we have such great ones, and probably some of the best ones we've had will never make it to tape anywhere. But obviously, 10 years you've been at the Sturgis Buffalo Chip now. It was an incredible time, a month and a half ago now. It's crazy that it's been that long since we left now. The memories are still fresh. It's been, for me, I've been there, right? I've been to the Chip, I've done a day, I've been to a concert, but I've never spent the whole week there, right? And I didn't stay on the property, but I was there plenty when all the action was happening. Got to meet some incredible people, but a decade you've been there now, running Club Chip, and obviously you were a patron before that. But yeah, 10 years of it. What's in just a few words, what is the Buffalo Chip for all of those listening that have never been there and never experienced it? Like, at its essence, what is the Buffalo Chip?
Home. For me, it's home. For people coming and visiting, it's a reunion. It's friends and family that have seen each other from across the world. We have friends that fly in from New Zealand and come in from Alaska, out from Arizona, over from Montana, and it's 9 days that we get to just be together like a family reunion, much like a family reunion. That's the best way to explain it.
And I think that gets lost, especially because you're bringing in these large name bands. This year Marilyn Manson was there. What a huge act that was. Five Finger Death Punch put on an awesome show. Jason Aldean for our country fans. They just announced their first headliner for the 2026 rally, and it was Lainey frickin' Wilson.
Yeah. That's
going to be huge, man.
So happy that they did that. There's a lot of bands I'd love to see. But she's got such momentum right now.
Right.
And it's really going to put on, bring on, we're going to get a lot of people there.
Yeah. I mean,
it's going to be Kid Rock or bigger.
I think it might be even bigger because Kid Rock can be such a polarizing figure for a lot of other people, and maybe they just don't like his music. I don't know a single soul around that doesn't love Lainey Wilson.
No, me neither. Yeah. Me neither. And to talk about Bobby, Kid Rock, he puts on one of the best performances. Now, we all know his music. We've seen his face for 100 years, it feels like. But his stage presence, the shows that and a lot of bands are. But I think Lainey's going to outdo that. I think she's gonna trump that.
Well, and like you said, it's the momentum factor where, Kid Rock 20 years ago on that rise, coming out is different. Now he's kind of one of the OGs. Mm-hmm. Shout out to them. They had us for his big tour, Rock the Country, this year. They were out in Sioux Falls, so we got to see him, and the show was incredible. The pyrotechnics, the screens, the videos, man, like everything is just unreal. I mean, as far as being a showman, he's made a career out of that and being outlandish, and also by not giving a shit what anybody else thought about him.
Right. And one of the things that impresses me most about him is he does that sober. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke weed. He doesn't do anything before his performance. He's completely sober on that stage, giving us 100% himself.
Right. And I think that's important for young performers to know as well, that if you're, and it probably got a bad rap during the 80s, right? The 80s and those hair metal bands and guys were just getting totally, shit-faced before they jumped on and delivered their art. That's not what it's about, man. And you're out there to do a freaking job, right? And I noticed that early on in my career was like, I can't be my best if I'm drinking in a purely physical manner. Yeah. I can't sing for 3 hours a night if I'm putting down booze and dehydrating my vocal cords and all of those things
in
the press. Oh, yeah, man. And then you're wrecking yourself. And if you're trying to do that back-to-back nights or back-to-back,
Exactly.
man, you can't party. So the only way to do it really is to do it, at least when you're performing, to do it sober, to be putting down the water, because you got to be, you want to give 100% of yourself, 1,000% of yourself into that 1 hour that you have with these people, or, maybe a 2-hour show.
Right.
And if you're dulling your shine as an artist in that moment, you're kind of losing out on a little bit of, and you're doing yourself a disservice by doing that.
Right. No, and I'm not here to promote any kind of drug use while you're playing. I don't drink much. I stay semi sober, if you will. Semi sober.
Yeah, I think Billy Strings called it California sober, right?
Yes, 100%. That'd be the better explanation.
Yeah, and I want people to get to know you a little bit too, man. So, you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning, but I know your upbringing has informed a lot of who you are as a man now, how you look at people and how you treat people. Give us a little bit of the backstory, DJ Hulio before he was DJ Hulio.
Oh, that's a little shit. I grew up from a broken home. Didn't have a great first father. My second father was great. He adopted me when I was 5 and brought me into music. He was in Wakefield, which you said you knew a little bit about Wakefield.
Yeah. South Dakota Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, man.
South Dakota Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. I might be there one day. We'll
see. We're working on it, brother.
Working on it. But so I got to experience music behind the scenes a long time ago. I was 5, 6, 7 years old, and that's where it started for me. Is the grit and grind behind the scenes. That's where it was for me. But I grew up in Sioux Falls. Was born in Leeds, South Dakota, not far from where I live now. Moved over to Rapid City, bought a home in Blackhawk. I own a plumbing company. Grew up. You can almost see the water towers from where we're sitting, right over there in those trees. When we moved from Sioux Falls, we moved to Rapid. Second grade, probably third. Was spent on Knollwood Elementary, so I grew up on the north side for a little while here in Rapid. Went over to the west side, not to Blackhawk, when I was 12, and this is where I've been pretty much since.
Yeah, just and you're a staple of a name out here in the Black Hills scene. I mean, everybody knows you, and everybody knows you because your personality has put you out there. I don't know a single person that would have a bad thing to say about you. You've always given so much of yourself to putting on other artists, to helping other people to get their art out there and to get into shows. And, performing, yes, is one thing, but I feel like you take your role as, kind of a Papa Bear of the scene now. You take that very seriously.
I wish I took it more seriously sooner. We have a lot of great artists in the South Dakota area. West River for sure. East River's been blooming for years. With us over here starting to show their faces, and I try to be. We get busy in life and forget our meaning sometimes, and as of recent, I've come back to that. I want others to shine. I want others to do their best, and I'm gonna hold you accountable. If you want this and you say you want it, and then you half-ass it, I ain't gonna mess with you.
Right.
I'm not gonna do it.
And I think that's what people have been seeing from the scene projects the last year is that, man, we're an open door, but if you're not here to put in the work and you're not here to carry the speakers, so to speak, in any fashion that it might be, that like, man, we ain't got time for you. If you're not putting in all of yourself and you're just here to capitalize off the platforms that we've built, there ain't no room for you here, man. We only got room for people that are going to help us row the boat.
Yeah. And I got to see you, hear you, more than twice a year. That's how I know you're invested. If I hear you once a month, I know you're invested into whatever we're doing. If it's a show that I'm going to be a part of, I need to hear back from you. If it's a show I'm putting on, I need to hear from you if you're going to be a part of it. And if I don't hear from you, no hard feelings. I'm gonna slap your hand in public, and we're gonna be friends. That's just what we're gonna do. But we just won't work together in music because that's not a good fit, and it's killing the friendship in the process.
Right. Right. Well, and they always say that it's hard to work with your friends. I think I disagree with that. It kind of depends on who your friends are.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah.
There's nobody that I would rather work with growing these things than my friends. Like to me, that's what it's all about.
100%. 100%. I used to have a studio. Well, you guys can't see it. No, we wouldn't really call it a studio. But I had my gear set up right over here. For years, people could come and play. I'm always here to play. I'm always here doing that. And as of the last year, since Rally, I put my stuff in my trailers, and that's where it's at. Gonna sit back and I'm gonna enjoy this winter, and then it's hard pressing come the first of the year.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and we know you'll be back at the Buffalo Chip for the 2026 rally, celebrating 11 years. Yeah, and I know it never feels like you've made it, and that you don't take any of it for granted. I mean, you're texting them this week and being like, "Hey, am I invited back next year?" And honestly, Damien's like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Right. And to be honest, I don't. I text very very seldom. I'll call you.
Right. I've learned that about you over the course of the last few months.
If you're important to me and it's important that we need to talk, I'm gonna call you. And I called Damon, and he said, we're just busy. Don't worry about life.
Yeah.
And then they put a post up, which is an awesome post, and I love seeing that from them. And that's the other thing that I was going to tell you in a few short words. Why the Buffalo Chip? When I say it's a family reunion, it's not separate families. You become almost ingrained. It's like it's 100% the word's home. The word's home. You're a part of it. They make you feel a part of it. The Woodruffs, behind the scenes, we got Mary, who I work directly with. There's Chris. There's so many great people out there. Behind the stage people, they just all for me, they made me feel home.
Right. And they made me feel at home with them this year. I was just on, the content creator, which there were several hundred of us at the end of the day. I went down to the creator party that they had at Camp Zero. And for me, I knew a lot of people are going to get caught up in the stuff that you kind of know about, right? Obviously, you have Burnout Alley, you have Bikini Beach, and you have the big concerts, right? And the main auditorium, the amphitheater area. I really wanted to shine a light this year, if I was going to be there, on the kind of dark corners of it. So I spent some time down at Camp Zero, spent some time at the sports complex down there, the motorsports complex. Freaking awesome, man. This giant, 6-mile track that they're ripping the side-by-sides around the whole time, but not necessarily a lot of spectators, just because it's hard to promote everything that you're doing when you're literally doing everything
all day long.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I got to spend some time there for the Ultra 4 racing, and they threw me a freaking security shirt. They're like, get in the fucking side-by-side, man. We're cruising up to the top of the hill, take some shots and do that. So we just shot a ton of footage, man. I probably had a terabyte of footage that I freaking shot this year, and to capture all the moments, to capture all the things that people don't necessarily see, because it is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right? It can be so huge, and not everybody spends even if you stay at the campground, you're not in the amphitheater every night, because you're probably going to party too hard one night and you'll be like, no, I got to sleep tonight, right? I'm going to find one or two where I might get 6 hours of sleep instead of 4.
And this year it was being there every day, for the rally as a spectator. It is overwhelming. We would before I got the contract 10 rallies ago, so it was the 75th. We would get up, we'd have breakfast, with everybody, maybe go to the pond for a little bit. Some of us hop on bikes, go rip the hills. And now, being the inside part of it, it's still the same. Nothing's changed. Except for now, when it's time to party, I get to be that party.
Right.
Yeah. I get to be at the big engine bar cheering my other DJs on, VIP Rob and whoever else might be there with him.
Big shout out to Rob. Yeah. We're using his cameras to shoot this today. So yes. Rob, I appreciate you, brother. And I can't thank you enough for letting us use your equipment to really give this interview the time that it deserves, man.
Yeah.
I do most of my stuff over the computer on Zoom, or, now we use a app called StreamYard that's allowed us to really increase our production value. We were live before recording this. I was at the Cinch Playoffs Governor's Cup on the main concourse, and it's just the same thing, just like you said, like, you are a part of the party.
Yeah.
And to be invited into these large scale events was just, you said, man, I was a shit kid too, like, to see us all where we've come, and to be not just invited but respected. And I think that's what I've really come to appreciate. As I get a little bit older, I'll be 40 in, a few months, and accepting the role that I have as an elder statesman of this scene, not just our brand, but of everyone around here. A lot of people come to me for advice. A lot of these younger artists, and even ones that have been around for a while. Hey, Bubba, what do you think about this? Or who can I talk to in this area? Like, we are a trusted source of information.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I'm so happy that I found, like, this outlet to get all of it out there without having to take 100 calls a day.
Yeah, that would be exhausting. No, and you do a great job. Yeah, I've been following you for years, and just now starting to be a part of it is you do a lot, and you're doing a good job. So pat yourself for that.
Thank you.
And your team, I hear you got an amazing team.
Yeah, and we do. A lot of people behind the scene, right?
Yeah.
That are doing it, and producers that have come on that I didn't know most of these people 6 months ago.
Right.
But they've come in and have proved themselves worthy. They want to be here. Right, and that's kind of what we talk about. I have a lot of friends that, and I hope you guys are watching the show, and if you are, get a hold of me, man. Come on and do this with, like, we're just having fun. Two dudes on a couch,
Right, exactly.
Talking.
That's how it started one time, wasn't it? Two dudes on the couch?
Pretty much,
wasn't there,
yeah.
Wasn't there something about a podcast called that?
Yeah, there probably was. I'm going to owe somebody some money for this one if it gets a lot of views.
They should owe us money
in.
because we just brought them attention.
Right, there you go. I got to start turning that narrative around.
This isn't two dudes on a couch. We are two dudes on the couch.
Man, what is it that keeps you going, Hulio? I mean, it's not the money. I mean, it is. We get paid for what we do. I get paid to perform and to show up, but it's never been about that to me. What is it for you that keeps you pushing and setting up shows? And obviously the rally's an easy one to get fired up for.
Yeah.
Right? It's easy to come out and to know that you're going to be performing for thousands of people over the course of 10 days. But to keep doing shows and setting up smaller things, and I know you had a pretty regular gig downtown in Rapid City for years. I don't know if you're still doing that, but
that unfortunately we paid the price due to somebody else's bad day. We lost a good friend down there to violence, and shortly after, what, Loki? That's one of the cats. Yeah, you can come here too.
yeah, you want to be on the show, Loki? No, so that was a friend of yours.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about it. I've been out of the Rapid City area for a while, but definitely something like that shakes up a community, and not just the city of Rapid City, but especially you and your crew.
Yeah, and it was hard on the bar, and it wasn't so much hard on the bar because of anything financial. It was hard on the bar because this young man was a good friend of ours. Everybody at the bar, and just the phone calls that the bar received afterwards, and it became evident, in order to keep our staff safe and the crowd safe, that we were going to shut it down. And so that bar has been shut down since June 21 or 22. One of the 21 or 22, we shut the bar down, and it's still empty. The place is still empty. Nobody's doing anything with it, and as far as live DJs, unless I'm creating a show, there's no weekend, spot besides AB's in Rapid City that a guy could bring that kind of a club scene to Rapid again. I hope it changes, because going downtown and listening to a DJ that plays, and mind you, I'd go down early just to listen to the other DJs. I'd walk down to the 445 and watch the live bands for a little bit, and head over to Ignite or Cole, which is now Press Start, which they have music. I'm not sure if they're using DJs now or not, but they don't have much of a dance floor because of all the games.
Right.
It's a fun place to go. Don't get me wrong.
No, and it's kind of sad that corner just kind of isn't the spot anymore, right? Because for so long, I mean, I remember when it was Dublin Square, and that's where we performed at, and before that it was, what was it called?
The Reef.
Yeah, it's had many names, that corner, but it was always the spot. And, you know, I know that they tried there with Cole, and Cole was great. As far as what I saw, you know, a little more upscale. Shout out to our guys, you know, DJ Stitch and Oakley, who ran that place for years.
Yeah, Oakley.
Always bringing that, you know, and spinning the top 40 stuff, right? They were what they were. Their crowd was who their crowd was going to be, right? But, you know, you go across town, and Bud Uglies for years, right?
I had that spot too.
Was the spot, man, for if you wanted, you know, real DJs.
Shout out to Greg Cook, Goat Boy, Full Throttle.
Yeah, well, and man, what they've built over there over the last several years since they moved, you know, even farther out of town to that piece of property just north of Bear Butte there, man, like incredible. And the new stage and VIP areas that they built at Full Throttle now, I mean, obviously we love the Chip, but we got love for all these people that are coming out and bringing the party, man.
Yeah, no, you know, Mike Ballard and all of those guys over there, they're great people. You know, to me, they may not be great people to other people, but to me, they've always treated me with respect. So nothing but love for them out there. Yeah, home. I'm sorry, I'm partial.
Right,
it's Buffalo Chips. So
right, and that's not to say that like I'm not going to come out and check out your place, right? And me, I'm out there during the day, but I'm not coming back for some of the concerts at night most of the time. I was a little disappointed I didn't go out for Hank Jr. I wanted to, but we had prior engagements. You know, for me, so much of what I'm doing now is to support Operation Combating Veteran Suicide,
right, which is great.
Being the marketing director for them, and that's actually, I stayed with Charlotte and Casey last night because they had an event going on at Kathmandu this weekend that I was supposed to be a part of. But, you know, 2 weeks ago, I got the email from the Cinch playoffs that are like, hey, we'd love to have you on the concourse again, and we saw what you did last year. We thought it was great. You're not going to turn that invitation down, man.
Right.
We're talking, we were in front of, you know, 15,000 rodeo fans this weekend. You don't get that visibility often, or some people at all, and the chance to just stand on the concourse and to pass out flyers for what we do, but also the causes that we're supporting is like, oh, that's our superpower.
Yeah.
Right? I'm able to turn all of that door-to-door marketing, you know, selling magazines back in the day into a real valuable, you know, skill right out there. Thousands of people walking by and just running that script, man. Support our nonprofit, support our, you know, support Operation Combating, support veterans. They were like, by the end of the night, it was just support veterans. Take this. This is how you're going to help save a life today, right? Yeah. Donate a little bit of money. Check out what we're doing. Share that with somebody else and come and be a part of it. And that's kind of the point we're at now, is that bringing in more organizations that are already doing things like, look, we just want to be a part of what you're already doing and supporting you in those causes. You know, the big dream is to build some housing units to really help these, you know, young men and women mostly that are coming through struggling with, you know, suicidal thoughts. And
that's, you hit something there. And before we lose it, I want Shopko, which is now Napa, was empty for several years. Why doesn't the city buy it? Why don't they use our tax dollars to put a housing development to, you know, a whole ass therapy session in there?
Right.
You come in this door, you get checked in, you get sober if you need to, you get education if you need to, as far as finding jobs, how to find a job, how to do this, what it looks like trying to buy a house, what it looks like trying to rent a house. Do you know how to do plumbing? Well, we got all of these people in these big ass buildings that sit dormant for nothing.
Yeah, well, and that's why organizations like ours have to do what we want to do, because I feel like what happens, and I don't know that it's the root cause. Obviously, you're dealing with people that have seen some stuff that they're never going to get out of their heads, right? You're going to deal with a lot of the PTSD, but those thoughts and those memories only come back when you're idle, right? Idle hands are the devil's playground, and And I think what happens is that people get out of the military and you've been surrounded by a community. You've been around your people this whole time. You've lived on base or close to base and you've been around that. And then as soon as you're not active duty anymore and you're kind of thrown back out into the world, you don't necessarily fit in with everybody. You're going to have a darker sense of humor than most regular people. Right?
You've done a job that, God bless you for doing it, but you had to do some horrible things in order to get the job done, and God bless you for doing it. That's what they need to know deep down.
Right.
It was a job. It was hard. We all got hard shit we deal with in our jobs. That, I bless you for it. God bless you for it.
Well, and how do we build communities for veterans that is also including all of those things, right? Not just building a housing unit for people to come and say, no. All the programs, all the get-togethers, and having, a lot of community built into the idea from the ground up, right? Like all of that is built in. What I want to do is I want to build podcast studios in all of them. Get these guys and gals talking, right? Get these veterans sharing their stories so people can see into those lives, and you don't have to share all the gory details, right? But at the end of the day, it becomes an archive for yourself and for the public to go, man, I went through something like that, right? And I think that's the important thing to drive through is like you sharing your story isn't for everyone. It's for that one person whose life it's going to change, right? And that's kind of where I've seen a huge growth. I say on my podcast, if I have the conversation, it changes one life and that life is mine, then it was a win. And 100%. No doubt, it's always been my life and the other person on the podcast. And then who knows what happens when it gets out there in the world. We have no control over that.
No, that's a ripple. I mean, everything's a ripple. And that's, speaking to who I was and who I am, is where I'm at today. How I got here today was nothing more than a ripple. Something happened in my life that pushed me this direction, and I had a choice. I can live dark or I can live light. How am I going to live light? I'm going to be friendly to everybody. I don't care if I dislike you, hate you, love you to death. When I see you, I'm going to treat you with respect, because why not? And now it works out. I get all the respect and the love in the world from the people at the Buffalo Chip. I go around my community here in Blackhawk. People know who I am. They shake my hand. They want to say good day. 10, 15 years ago, it would have been heads down, and that guy's a dickhead.
But we live and learn. And I think that's something that both of us have really grown over the last 10, 15 years of, because early on it's hard not to be. It's about me. It's about what I'm doing. And over time, it's probably just part of getting older and having those experiences and growing as a man, right? To realize that having kids and raising kids probably affected me more than anything, honestly. I went on the run, man. When I caught my charges and shit, I was like, fuck, I'm not going to prison. I wasn't thinking about my kids at all. I was thinking about me, right? And then my son Mick was born down in Mexico. My daughter was conceived down there, and it was finally taking a hard look in the mirror and going, look, they didn't ask for this life, right? And if you're going to bitch and moan about the life that somebody else gave you, without going too deep into my backstory on this episode, listeners of the show, y'all know how to find it. Y'all probably know the story already, but it was hard for me to be, okay, well, you're going to do the same fucked up shit to your kids that your dad did to you, right? And you're going to give them all the same issues that you have. Like, how do you stop that? And it started with personal accountability. It said, you made those choices. You're going to go back and bite the bullet. You're going to do your time. And you're going to come out a better man for it. And it was at that point that I almost just started demanding more respect for myself, because I was like, look, you can frown upon the decisions that I made, but I owned it, right? I am who I am because of owning it, not because of the things that I did, because I stood up and took accountability and I said, you know what, I'm going to satisfy that to society, right? I'm going to do my time. I'm going to get out regardless of how laws have changed in the last, as soon as I got out, pretty much a few years later, the laws changed, and now things I was doing would have never landed me in prison for 2 years.
Right.
But, I don't sit back and look on that with regret either. Prison brought me a wife, a trade, and a mission. Right? And that mission was to help other young men, because that's all I saw in there, right? Is these young men that were just lost. They didn't have a purpose. They didn't have a community. They didn't have any of that, right? And, I think you got to start building communities where you're at. For you, that was obviously the DJ world, but also, your dancers mean a lot to you too. They bring a lot to the show. And these young ladies, they got a story, right? And they're coming from not great backgrounds, but they're out there doing their art form, right? And it's not all about just shaking their ass, right? It's so much more than that.
They're way more than that. They're family. They're sisters. Some of them are younger than, too young to be my sister, but they're family. They come out. They do work hard, and they work for tips. And when I say work, it's they play. They play for tips. They talented bunch of girls. I try to There's video of me trying some of the things they do, and that's not great. I can't do that. I can't dance that way.
But it adds to, it's part of the show, right? Like they're not up there because they, because it brings them some, personal joy always, right? Like it's hard as dancing 7-8 hours a day, man. Yeah. Like it is work.
No, it is.
But it's part of the show, especially out at the Buffalo Chip, the biker culture, to have them. But they really, and especially the girls that you got on the team and the family, that they're there to make it an experience for the people that are there.
Yeah.
Right? They take a lot of pride in that. And that's what I really saw this year as different from years past, because it's hard to capture that in a night, right? It's hard to see that because there's so much input coming at you. But being there for the whole week and watching how they were supporting one another, and I mean, that blisters on the hands and on your feet and on your body is giving out because you're tired. But a lot of your girls they're performing sober as well, right? Yeah. It's not like we're out there partying. Yes, we are playing, right? Yeah. Our work doesn't look like your work. Most people watching this, right?
No,
we get to have a really good time doing what we do, but we couldn't do the job, and especially in a marathon that is the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, especially at the Buffalo Chip, if you're trying to be if you're trying to party and put on the party at the same time, it just doesn't work.
No, we've lost DJs and we've lost girls because of that. I mean, it's, when I say lost, they're alive and living well. We just, as much as it's a party up there, we have rules. We have standards. We want to be able to, I feel for the girls, they want to dance and show how the music is making them feel to everybody that's looking around, so then people can feel safe. Now I feel safe. This girl up here is showing me how the music's making her feel. I can too show the world how I feel to this music.
That's a great point that I never thought of it that way, but that's why the dancers are so important, because if you didn't have them, nobody would dance.
Well,
right?
They would be on them boxes and they'd be tripping and falling and breaking shit. We would just not have to have the boxes up there anymore. And we would still get people dancing. People are going to dance. The girls are there to show them that it's okay.
Yeah, right. It gives them the freedom. It gives them the confidence maybe to go out there, because, especially, the girls are scantily dressed, right? It's part of the show.
They're in swimsuits.
Right.
Basically swimsuits.
Right. Out there doing their thing. But I never thought about the mental side of that. That is, you seeing them up there, wearing their bathing suit and dancing and doing all the things that they're doing, it makes you feel a little less stupid maybe to go out there and shake your ass on the dance floor. Yeah. Because nobody's watching you anyway. They're watching them, right?
What a lot of people don't understand about the club, any club that you walk into. I mean, we're using the Buffalo Chip Club Chip as the model here. When you come up there, I'm telling you a story. If I'm active in my set and I'm playing my music, maybe you don't know this, I don't plan a set. I don't put music in lines. I don't do what you see all these DJs in Miami and Vegas and Tomorrowland and all those. I'm not creating a list of music. I'm going to start here and I'm going to watch. And from what I see, I'm going to tell the story to the next song, to the next song, to the next song, to the next song. Never know which one's coming next. In my storytelling, the girls are dancing to that, visually dictating what that story is to the crowd.
Yeah, it's interpretive dance.
Yeah. So when that happens, then it naturally it brings people that want to hear the story together. And in my mind, that's what DJing is. When I do this, I don't... Even when I was young, okay, my very first mixtape I ever made, I was in 4th grade. I was recording, and I've said this before, so if you've heard me before, you've heard this story before. I would listen to the Hot 100. It was a radio station back in... I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was. But I would record the songs, the entire Hot 100. And then I would take those songs and put them in the order I wanted them in to dictate what I wanted the mix to look like. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. That was great. That was the first time I ever put a story together through music. And if you go onto the YouTube, it's R.D. Horan on YouTube, Horan. There's a few that absolutely suck. And I like them up there. People are like, take them down. I'm like, no, because I want to show what it was and what it is. What it started like, what it is now today. And if you listen to my mixes that are on there, you'll hear a story. You've got to find it. It's your job to find it, but it's in there.
Yeah. I love that because that's always what I've brought to music as well. And obviously we're different forms of the same art, right?
Yeah, different
We're
expression.
both in music, right? You know, what you saw of me playing out at Big Mama's yesterday was very much the same. I mean, I usually start with the same 5 songs, but even those songs tell the story of who I am, right?
Yeah.
Starting off with a little Fishing in the Dark into Copperhead, but then immediately mixing in like more of me, which is the Sublime and the mixing Steve Miller with a little bit of Shaggy in there, right? And like being able to expose you to like, this is who I am. This is the stuff that I've been into. I'm here to perform for you, but I'm trying to get a feel for what you're into without having to sit up here and go, what do you want to hear?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like, because you're going to shout a bunch of artists that maybe I don't know, right? I don't know every song. That's not my job.
Yep.
That's not who I am, but I can get close and I can use that feeling out process to do exactly what you do. Is like, hey man, I know they're going to love this song, right? They love those, they will love those ones, then I know they're going to have that coming. So I might go away from that for a little while, but I already know what I can come back to.
Right. It's called, I call it fishing. Called it fishing for years.
Yeah.
You know, you said Fishing in the Dark, and again, you'll hear on one of my interviews, I call it fishing. I fish the crowd. I'll throw my rod out, my first song, I'll do my first jerk, that's my second song. Third jerk, okay, I got you. Really in then.
Yeah.
It's
so the dance floor is packed. And
what I was most impressed with yesterday, I've never heard it before, but the way that you did it, going from one song right into the next song on the one, on beat, for those who don't know what that meant. And it was like you were DJing, but with the guitar.
Yeah. It was perfect.
Totally. It was like, I dig this. And I'm sorry I didn't stare at you. I put my back to you for only one reason, and that's because I didn't want to make you nervous by any means.
Yeah,
and I
appreciate that.
I don't know who gets nervous or who you get nervous around, but even when I watch my DJ friends, I'll stand off to the side so they can't directly see me.
Right. Well, I appreciate that, but I'm in the zone, man.
Yeah.
And much like you are when you're up there, and that's why I wasn't afraid to put a camera in your face and to be up above you and getting all the crazy shots that we got from the thing. And
I can't wait to see some of that.
Man, and we made a short promo reel just to get something out right away. But I have so much of this stuff to go back and to chop up, and I know Rob's got a ton of footage too, so we'd love to put it all together and to make a nice promo reel for not just for the Buffalo Chip either. It's for the fans. It's for you to see, hey man, come see what we do, right? Like, pay the price of admission is worth it, right? Yeah. Like, and that's what I've always kind of strived with the scene projects and with, I've always been focused on the artist. Like, it's not necessarily about the fans when I'm talking with you or when I'm talking with any other of the 200 plus artists that have been on our show over the last year and a half, right? It's about them. Tell me your story so we can put it out there into the world. But for our coverage of like a Rock the Country or for our footage of the rally at all the venues we went to, and especially the Buffalo Chip, is to show the fan side of it, right? All of the vendors that are out there, the guys like Op One Vet who I got to form a relationship with, and the whole Freedom Day celebration is incredible, right? Like to have the vets represented on stage, the big presentations, it's getting to be front row for my breaking down in tears because of what she's been able to do, as a former Buffalo Chip poster bottle winner, right? But her continued dedication to the family and to raising money for veterans and just all the things you were doing, and to see her on stage being right there and capturing those moments of her overcome with emotion, right? Because it's important to us. Like, it means something to us. It means so much to us to be able to support these communities. That's what I was about. It was about supporting those other, like you said, we all kind of have our own family, and then you come into the larger one. And I have to imagine, to kind of equate it to the the Native American tribes that used to be out here, they all knew each other, right? Everybody wasn't at war all the time. No. A lot of times they were in peace with each other, and that, hey, that's yours, and this is ours, and this is how we live, and they would get together in, a powwow or whatever they would call them then. That's what we kind of identified as now, but, we're very blessed in the Black Hills to have that culture still represented and still very alive and well, and this is just a different family family of families coming together.
Yeah.
And we get to do it, every year, that first Friday in August for the next 10 days, and celebrating with some of the biggest names in rock and country and the biggest names in EDM right here in the Black Hills. And
I would say club. I have some friends that are EDM producers and music players, and those guys can get it.
Yeah.
Club, take me to the club. I'll take that. I'll take that one.
Well, I think that's a great point to cut it off, man. Take me to the club. We need some t-shirts. We need some t-shirts, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, man. Well, this is DJ Hulio, my brother Ryan. Man, this has been great, and it's going to be great again when we all get back to the Buffalo Chip. I want to thank Damon and Woody. Obviously, you guys are at the top of it, but everybody involved with the Buffalo Chip family, thank you for having me there as part of the Scene Projects to capture it. Special shout out to Cody Ertman. I put those kids on one of their first shows way back when they were in high school, man.
Really?
And I have tape from that somewhere in the archives, man. But him and his friends were still in high school, and to now see to have him kind of return the favor, right? To put me on and to get me a pass to be there and the access, I definitely took full advantage of it, and got out there and supporting bare knuckle fighting and getting to meet Cheyenne Bentlip and watch our South Dakota girl, take a win home.
She's such a badass.
Yeah, and we've been friends now on Instagram since then, and kind of always sharing her stuff and her journey, and can't wait to have her back. I hope we get to see her again. I hope BKFC comes back for the third year in a row. I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to. Hey, maybe hopefully Connor comes back again this year. That'd be pretty cool. Assuming he's not president of Ireland by that point.
Right, which he probably will be, which is fine. He can come over. He'll be fine.
More than welcome.
Yeah, I got to meet him that year.
Yeah?
Yeah, he came up to the club, hung out for a little bit.
That's incredible, man. Yeah,
he's not as big as I thought he was. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't scrap with the dude.
No.
He was short.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was that short.
No, well, he fought in what? He fought in the featherweight, wasn't he? That was the first one he came up, man, and throws that concrete right hand, though.
I would not want to mix it up with him.
No, sir.
I will shake his hand and go away.
Right. Awesome. Anything you want to plug before I let you go, man?
Nah, just get your ticket to the Buffalo Chip. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Have fun. When words fail, music speaks. Listen to it.
Yep, come see us at Club Chip. That's where we're both going to be all week long during rally. Get your passes now.
Yes,
they're cheap now. Do it. If you know you're going to be coming out for Sturgis, the clock is already ticking. They've already announced the biggest headliner that they maybe have ever had. I know Skinnerd and Kid Rock, and those are big, but Lainey Wilson is at the top of the heap right now.
We had Ozzy Osbourne.
Right.
She's got some work to do.
Right, she's got some work to do there.
Yes.
But also, it wasn't Ozzy at the height of his career, too. Yes, it was a big name, but Lainey is at the top. I mean, winning Grammys right now. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if the Buffalo Chip can start to bring in more of these artists that they're top, Jason Aldean this last year, right?
Yeah.
And starting to lean more into that country world, because country is where rock music was.
You know what we need around here?
What's that?
We need Linkin Park.
Oh, man, that'd be awesome. And we obviously know that Chester is gone, but the band is still...
Another dumb story. I played basketball with those guys.
Oh, yeah?
Chester Bennington, Mike Shinona, and Exhibit when they performed in Rapid.
The times you had. Yeah. We need to start a podcast of our own that's just the DJ Hulio memory bank.
Yeah, that's... What do I remember now? I don't know. Just kidding.
Well, and you almost need somebody else to come in and be talking about it to bring them up, because what you're going to remember are different than what most people would care to remember. For a lot of people, it's the big names, and it's those things matter. To us, those kind of get filed back in the archives and only get brought up when the band comes up, you know?
Yeah. You know Mike Liberator, or he goes by Liberate, or Riley Skier?
No.
So they're a couple of the guys I was talking about in the EDM scene that just really know how to play, really know music. And that's one of my favorite times DJing. We did a three-way. A menage a trois of music, if you will. Just did back to back to back. All three of us played at Synesthesia 3 years ago. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And a special shout out, I'm glad you brought it up, Synesthesia, a great little festival been going on here, was just a week or two ago, right?
I think it's 2 weeks after the rally, so... however long ago that's been. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shit, that's been a month now too. It's crazy how fast the time moves and the dilation of time, right? And I think you notice it a lot more as elder statesmen now.
Yeah.
That it's just like it can seem like it's so long and such a short amount of time in the same breath. And man, I've enjoyed the time that we've had here today. Getting to sit down with you in your home. I thank you for having me in here and sharing your space, man. It doesn't look much different than mine. Crystals on the wall and plants in every window. You know,
shout out to the wife.
Yeah, I do my own decorating at the house.
You guys can't see it, but the one thing I did in this room was I hung that TV. My wife has done all of this. She's great.
Well,
and maybe in your B-roll we'll hit a
little pan and get it in there for sure. Speaking of TV, this one might air on TruTV Plus, our new network that we've joined, and watching the scene projects kind of go from audio only a year ago, where it was only that. We went to video in January. The projects just passed 1,000 uploads and 250,000 views on YouTube last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's tough to come by, man, and not everybody gets a chance to do it. So I'm trying to take it all in stride. You know, it's not about us. It's about the artists that we support. We got a new show called Love Noise. Every Wednesday at 9 p.m. live on YouTube, Twitch, and all the other places where we're going. But a chance to hear artists'
on
songs.
Wednesdays?
Yep. Every Wednesday, 9 Central, so 8 o'clock out here. And it's a great time to meet new artists, not just the interview portion, but getting to hear their music and then getting to hear the story behind that song, right? Or the recording of it, or just whatever, right? And it's just a hang, man. It's this, but we do it every week live on Zoom and on our streaming networks, and it's just been fun, man. Building out this community's been the greatest blessing of my life, to have this kind of
thank you for doing it too. Thank you for doing it.
Well, thank you for being part of the scene, brother. I know you've built a lot of it, so appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate you all listening. That's DJ Hulio. I'm Bubba Startz, and we'll see you at the club.
See you at the club.